Hey everybody, Bridgelyn Doloff, Conscious of Economics, Urban Farm Project, YouTube channel. So I just love some of these, like the War Drummer, just has the best, excuse me, I'm fixing my hair. It's morning. What can I say? I have my radio show today, so I just had to read up on information about my guest. And so I did that. So now I'm doing a short video because there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, Star Kid stuff, whether it's important or valid or not. But this video is just going to be about, I keep talking to people about language. So it depends on where you're at and the language that you develop and pick up. And this is how certain parts of society know, like, kind of where you're at. So for example, in medical, if you're, on the lower end, a massage therapist, you'll call, a vertebrae that's out or not in the right place, or it may be swollen or herniated. You'll call it a compression because that's your level of education. And that's what they've taught you to call it. If you're a chiropractor, you're going to call it a subluxation, because that's your level of training. If you're a medical doctor, you're going to call it a herniated or a slip disc kind of a thing. And with each, level, they know who you are and what you are. And this is also why the public is confused, because, they'll go to a doctor and it's called this. They go to the massage therapist and it's called this. And they're speaking in a totally different language. And it just confuses people, average people. So also in the whole, spirituality and religion, they use 3 words. Some of the, Red Road people that I've been around, indigenous people, talk about things like as a harvest, human harvesting. So that word is used. In the New Age, they're using a word called ascension. And in Christianity and Catholic in the Bible, they call it rapture. But it's all the same thing. It's you and your body floating off your feet up. I mean, what the heck do you think that is? The only thing that can do that in our reality is a UFO tractor beam. So who do you think your God is? And where do you think they're going to take you? The harvest, is about us as a food commodity. We've been a food commodity on this planet for lots of different extraterrestrials. That's why there's all kind of satanic, them eating kids and hybrids that look human, all this, bloodletting. So let's go to another term that I'm seeing a lot of. So I see a lot of this stuff in Christianity. And you know what? My grandmother was a prophet of the Pentecostal church, probably one of the most powerful prophets during her age. And she would have direct prophecy, prayer prophecy, fasting prophecy, all kinds of different dream prophecy. She was prolific, prophetic, prolific. And she was also an exorcist. So, they always say this thing like, oh yeah, well, you got to be anointed by God and all this other stuff, to have prophecy. It's like total bullshit, because prophecy is remote viewing. It's the same thing as remote viewing, right? You're being shown but the thing is, in remote viewing, that you're traveling to that date that time in history, past, present, or future, traveling to another planet, and so you focus in on a date, a timeline, and then you go to that place and you see what's there. Where prophecy is where you think somebody else is controlling what you need to visually see. And so it always cracks me up because all these different people have all this different languaging, but it's like the same darn thing. And it's stupid and it's pathetic. And it makes people, depending on what term they're using and the level of consciousness that they're using, they think either that something is giving them that information or that experience, or in remote viewing, that you're going to collect it yourself. So prophecy, used in like the Christian way, because a lot of times, like my native teachers have taught me that it's not a prophecy. So, in white culture, we have labeled visions, right? So the natives are going to call them visions, right? So we have indigenous people having a vision, getting a vision. And that can take place through all different kinds of means, connecting up. Then there's prophecy of like the Christian people. And then there's like remote viewing for, the higher conscious people. But it's all the same thing. But we like to think that we're special, and we're in a group of special people. And so our term and the way that we use it and our connection is more special than theirs and more important and more significant. And so you see a lot of these people on YouTube in the Christian realm, and, they call themselves prophets and prophetesses and all this other stuff. And basically they're insecure remote viewers because they have to give the credit to some, being or something outside of themselves. When the whole thing is like completely ridiculous. Even, and it's not a prophecy by, my teachers, my native teachers, unless it comes true. It's a vision, right? Right? It's a vision. It's a remote viewing. You're remote viewing. You're going into the future and taking a look around. But the thing is like, it could be so much better. Instead of downloading, information, you could actually target the information by, asking for I don't even want to go for asking for the vision. You just desire it, you remote view it, you find a time and place, and you go. So, law uses this kind of languaging against us. And so just wanted to put this video out there because I'm really getting like burned out on the whole language thing and how ridiculous the whole thing is, and how different groups use, what they think are different words, but they're not different words. They're all the same words meaning the same thing. But they don't want to see that in a lot of cases. They want to think that they're special somehow, right? And something else outside of themselves has made them special. And they're not special. We all have, if cultivated, we all have the same abilities. And we really need to get out of this language traps. But, in shamanism, a lot of it is about self-importance. And so people get stuck on different terms and languages because of the self-importance. And I know, being in a holistic medicine, and this other thing too, like I've done Western medicine, I've done wilderness medicine. You can literally put people back together, right, in a wilderness setting to keep them alive. And so I've learned a lot of those kinds of things, how to put the body back in a medical sense, how to align, a femur fracture, right, to keep the person from, bleeding out, and to keep, constant pull on the leg, to keep it in that direction, to keep the person from bleeding out, and to make sure that, it's going to set okay. Tracheotomies, deal with all kinds of stuff in wilderness medicine. And I've done some Western medicine stuff, and I've seen that. And I've been in holistic medicine my whole life, right? So I see it a lot in the work that I do. If I don't have a license, then I'm not in a category. And so they like to keep you in a certain category, so you use a certain language so that they know what your status is in that field, lower to higher as far as their rating is concerned. So they know by the type of languaging you use. And I remember I was confronted kind of by medical doctor personnel, and they said, well, you can't call things medicine. And it's like, the indigenous people call everything medicine. Everything is medicine, right? Everything. And it's like, whether it's spiritual or it's physical or it's emotional or mental, it's medicine. People have medicine ways, medicine people, medicine man, medicine woman, all of these different things. Ayahuasca can be used as medicine under the right conditions. Peyote is medicine used under the right conditions, so your relationship with animals and the water and in your environment is medicine. And how you participate in that medicine. You make it a bad medicine or you make it a good medicine. And so I tell people, don't tell me what kind of terms that I can use, right? Because I'm not going to comply to, based on my training or my licensing or my you can only use these kinds of words to convey, what you're doing or what you're facilitating. Really, the last week I've really gotten crunchy about the whole enslavement, credola and the echelon, the layers of the enslavement and how that language plays out in your personal system and the systems that you're in. So anyway, that's it for today. But, just remember that there is nothing to anoint you to make you special, to have a prophecy, because basically what you're doing is you're having a vision, or, you can also call it remote viewing, which all of us have the capability of doing. Sometimes we just have to shift how our mind works a little bit in order to develop it. All right, so pat yourself on the back because you're just as special as anybody else. And we're all special. But at the same time, we're all not special. All right, everybody, have a great day. Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project, Bridget Lindolgoof. Over and out.